The king is gone, and silence has a crown. In the shadow of loss, a new ruler steps forth. But far from court and crown, a child cries in the wild. He was not cursed, he was chosen, and the heavens sent wings, not wrath. This is the legend of Zal, the white-haired prince. And legends never begin where you expect. Telvora, where legends awaken. The reign of Manuchehr. Upon the passing of the great Feridun, the court was shrouded in mourning, and the land trembled with sorrow. Yet time willed that the throne not remain empty for long. Manuchehr, the heir of noble blood, ascended the throne, placing upon his head the crown of kingship, a symbol of divine favor and sovereign might. The lords and warriors of the realm gathered before him, their voices raised in praise and their hearts brimming with allegiance. Standing before them, Manuchehr spoke, his words woven with wisdom and power. Sam, lord of the battlefield, a warrior whose name was spoken with awe. Rising, he addressed the king. Majesty, it is the duty of the king to rule with justice, and ours to serve with loyalty. You have cleansed the earth of wickedness. Now, my king, rest your sword, and leave the toils of war and conquest to us. I shall strike down the rebels, bring the unruly to heel, and secure peace throughout the land. Manuchehr, moved by his words, bestowed upon him gifts of great worth, tokens of honor and gratitude. The kingdom settled into an era of strength and stability, following the sacred traditions of old. The birth of Zal. Sam, mighty among men, had yet to father a son. His heart, though steeled in battle, harbored a longing, a hope for an heir to carry forth his name and honor. Among the women of his household was a maiden fair as the dawn, her tresses dark as the night sky, and her beauty a wonder to behold. Upon her, Sam placed his hope. Time passed, and the heavens answered his silent prayer. The woman bore him a son, a child of radiant splendor, his form strong and whole. Yet a marvel, a mystery was upon him. His hair and lashes were as white as the winter's frost, untouched by the dark hues of his father's line. For a week, none dared bring this news to Sam, fearing his wrath, his grief. At last, an old nurse, her heart bold and steadfast, approached him. "My lord," she spoke, "rejoice, for a son is born to you, a child of health, of strength, of noble countenance, but his hair is as pale as the moon's glow." Sam, hearing this, rushed to the women's quarters. He gazed upon his son, beheld his ivory locks, and his heart sank. The voices of mockers echoed in his mind, the whispers of scorn. Had he sinned so greatly that the heavens had cast this strange sign upon his house? In his weakness, he made a grave decision. He ordered the child to be taken away, abandoned in the wild, upon the craggy slopes of Mount Alborz, where the great Simurgh made her nest. A fate crueler than death awaited the babe, left to the mercy of beasts and elements. For a day and a night his cries pierced the mountain silence. Above, in her high abode, the Simurgh stirred. Her chicks, hungry and restless, awaited her return, yet she had found no prey. Soaring across the sky, her keen eyes fell upon the child, pale as snow, his voice ringing with sorrow. She descended, talons poised, yet as she beheld him closer, something stirred within her. A whisper from the unseen realm called to her, a command from the divine. Take this child, shelter him, for from his line shall rise a hero, a champion who shall guard the realm, a pillar of the throne. And so, instead of talons striking flesh, the great bird lifted the boy with care, bearing him to her nest. She brought to him the choicest of meats, feeding him the purest nourishment, raising him with love as though he were her own. Years passed, and the abandoned infant grew into a youth of towering height and unmatched strength. His limbs tempered by the mountain winds, his spirit as fierce as the eagle's flight. Travelers and wanderers passing through the land spoke of him in hushed tones. A boy raised by a bird, a wild prince of the heights. At last, the tale reached the ears of Sam. That night he dreamt of a warrior from the east, a herald of fate, riding forth with tidings of his lost son. At dawn, he gathered his wisest counselors and recounted both his vision and the whispers of the people. The elders spoke, their voices filled with reproach. O Lord, even the wild beasts do not forsake their young. Yet you, a man of honor, cast aside your own flesh and blood. Now go forth and reclaim him, lest your heart remain burdened with guilt for eternity. Stricken with remorse, Sam resolved to seek his son. With a host of warriors, he rode toward Alborz, that towering mountain of stone and sky. Yet as he neared its slopes, no path led upward. He called upon the Almighty for aid, his voice trembling with repentance. High above, the Simurgh beheld the host below and turned to her fostered child. Your father comes for you, she spoke, his heart heavy with regret. Though I love you as my own, the time has come for you to rejoin your kin. The youth, hearing this, felt a pang of sorrow. Do you cast me away, then? Have I failed you? The Simurgh's voice was gentle. No, my child, but your place is among men. Take this feather, when peril comes, burn it, and I shall come to your aid. She named him Dastan, for his father had cast him aside through treachery. Then, spreading her mighty wings, she bore him down the mountainside, where Sam, waiting, beheld his son, a warrior already, his form mighty, his face noble. With tears of joy and regret, Sam embraced his son, calling him Zalizar, the golden-haired prince. And so, father and son returned to the city, where a great feast was held in his honor. There, under the gaze of the King Manuchehr, Zal stood, clad in the garb of war, his presence commanding. The king, pleased, called forth the astrologers, demanding to know the youth's fate. And the seers, reading the stars, declared, This one shall be a pillar of the realm, a hero unmatched, whose lineage shall bear a name eternal. Manuchehr, overjoyed, bestowed upon him gifts, and granted Sam dominion over the lands of the east, from the banks of the Sind to the borders of China. With honor reclaimed, Sam and Zal returned to their domain, and in time, the young warrior took his place as ruler of Zabul, learning the ways of governance and war. Thus, the tale of the white-haired prince began, a saga yet to be written in the annals of legend. If you were in Manuchehr's place, would you allow Zal to marry the daughter of Zahak's bloodline? She never saw him, yet loved him. He was raised by a bird and longed for her touch. One night they defied kings, bloodlines, and fate. But their love lit the fuse of a fire that could burn empires. This was only the beginning. The rest awaits in the fire of destiny. Telvora, where legends are born, and destiny is never silent.